Hey guys, this is Claudio Giuliano here, and today I am excited to be coming at you with this new review. And today we are going to be reviewing the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. So, of course, we're going to be coming at this review from the standpoint of the creative professional, but anybody interested in the 10.5 can tune in today and get knowledge out of this review. So, if you've been with me a bit and you tuned into the 9.7-inch iPad Pro review from last year, we had basically asked the question if the iPad Pro was something a professional can get great use out of. And we came to the conclusion that it was, but we were in the very beginning stage of seeing that glimpse of the future of the platform. And now we are at a period where the hardware and software is caught up to each other. So it's we're no longer in this glimpse. We are actually in that future that I spoke of in the 9.7-inch review. And this is really exciting stuff because we are going to be reviewing the 10.5 today with iOS 11. I felt that was necessary to do because this hardware is very much so built for iOS 11. For me, it didn't make sense to review this product without iOS 11 because that's really a major key foundational aspect of the new iPad hardware. And as you know, Apple's hardware and software closely works together to deliver that streamlined, unified experience. Now, I have to say right off the bat, Apple has really came through here. They have really come through in terms of the innovation. They set the bar high this year, and they've delivered experiences that are unique to the iPad Pro only. And they've delivered an experience that that fundamentally changes the way you will interact and use this kind of form factor. And in doing so with the innovation here, what they've also done is they've made various leaps forward in terms of the iPad Pro, and just in general they've made many leaps forward here. So there's a lot of leapfrogs going on that we're going to talk about. So as we break the review down, we're going to break everything down from the logical standpoint. We're going to talk about the how and why, and as we break this down and as we go deeper into this review, I think you'll see what I'm talking about when I'm talking about that innovation factor and that high bar that they set. So let's get into things. So as always, we're going to start with the hardware walk around, and we're also going to directly compare the 10.5 to the old 9.7. We're going to compare it software-wise. We're also going to compare it, of course, hardware-wise. I have the box here because it has that white background. It allows you to see the bezels here, and that's one of the big features here. The bezels are really thin on the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. Now, if you just are looking at videos and pictures online, it's hard to actually see just how modern and sleek the new bezel design makes the 10.5. It's substantial. And when you get it in person, especially if you already own a 9.7, you're going to instantly feel like the 10.5 feels new, modern, and sleek. It makes a big impact just in terms of design alone. Now, it's hard to see the bezels here because we have the space gray model, but also Apple has a new anti-reflective coating here that works very well. And this coating we'll talk about a little bit later when we talk about the display. But as you can see, the bezels are thinner all the way around. Now, if we bring in the 9.7 here, I think you can see the difference there. And much more substantial when you see this in person, but I think you can see. And then the other thing is we are increasing the display size here. So we're getting a 10.5-inch display. And that screen bump is substantial as well. It feels like you're holding a totally new product when you work with this. The screen size is we're now sitting in the perfect middle ground of the 9.7 and the 12.9. I love this screen size. It's awesome, and it delivers a new experience, because what Apple has done here, Apple has retained the thinness and the weight. So you can still pick this up and hold it with one hand with no problem in both portrait and landscape mode. And now it just feels like you have this thing in your hand that is mostly display, and it's a new experience. So design wise, when you see this in person, you'll definitely feel like this is a very slick, modern looking design, and it looks great. Now let's turn you around, and let me bring you over to the side here so we can show how thin it is. So we've retained the thinness here. Super sleek. We still have the chamfered edge there, but you can see the thinness, it hasn't gotten thicker at all. It's the same exact thinness as the 9.7. Same weight. Now overall the footprint is a bit larger, but it's not larger to the point where it's going to make an impact. Like I said, you can still grab this with one hand with no problem, and you can still work with it in a similar way to how you would work with the 9.7, except you're getting 20% more screen, and it makes a very big impact. It changes the experience. So we're getting that ultra thin design, which I believe this is the thinnest tablet there is. Of course, the quad speaker system, button placement is the same, and everything is a bit refined here. Buttons feel even more tactile, more refined. Nice attention to detail here. There's refinement. From the back, pretty much the same look, but we don't have those nasty FCC logos. We have the new camera sensor and system there from the iPhone 7. Really high-end camera in this iPad Pro. But when you start looking at it from the front, that's when it starts to look like a new product, and it makes a big impact there. Now also I have the keyboard attached here, and I want to talk about this now. The keyboard retains its design, but it's better this year because it's bigger. The keys are more spaced out. It feels more natural to type on. Now I really enjoyed typing on the 9.7. I actually really enjoyed that. But typing with the 10.5 is fantastic. It feels even better. It feels more natural. You have more key travel. I love this keyboard. I really do. And if we bring in the old one here, I want to just show you the old keyboard, and I want to show you how much bigger it is. Okay. So here's the old keyboard here. There's the new. Let's try to get this on there. Okay, so you see that footprint is bigger. It's longer. It's longer and taller. Okay. But overall design, pretty much the same design, but it's also refined too. Everything here with this keyboard feels refined. And also the magnetics on the iPad and the keyboard are much stronger. And in this little area where I always keep the pencil a lot of the time, I don't know if you could hear that, the magnets are stronger here, and the magnets are stronger when you attach the pencil to the front, when you actually have everything closed. So refinements to the keyboard. Now some people had said that their keyboards weren't sitting flush on the table or on a flat surface. I did not run into that issue. The keyboard here, as you can see, is sitting flush and it's flat on the table here. Okay, so if you ran into that issue, you might have to break in the keyboard, because it might just that happens sometimes, where sometimes off the line the materials are just so new that they have to be broken in. And if that's not the case, and if it doesn't break in, just give a call and get a replacement, because as you can see, mine is sitting totally flush here, and this keyboard has given me no problems as far as sitting flush. So that's the keyboard. So That is the hardware breakdown. Also, Touch ID 2 we have here, so super fast. Like I said, the bezels are thinned out on the chins and on the sides. And that's pretty much our hardware breakdown. Super sleek, ultra thin. Let me bring in the 9.7. I just want to show you that it is the same thinness. Let me turn that around real quick. Okay. Same exact thinness, same weight. And the weight distribution here, since since the footprint's a bit bigger, for me, it feels easier to actually pick this up because the weight almost makes it feel a little bit lighter than the 9.7, because the 9.7 is kind of shrunken down a bit compared to the 10.5. So I feel that this weight distribution allows the device to feel really good in the hand. And that's that. That's going to wrap up our hardware. All right, guys, so let's get into the good stuff. So let's check out how fast the Touch ID sensor is. Boom, already unlocked. Very fast, really nice. Now, as you can see, when we turn on the display, you start to see how substantial that screen size difference is. Let's show that here. Let's go over to the 9.7 here. Okay. Let's bring that right here. Okay, see that? It's very substantial, and because of that, it feels like a totally different experience. It really does. And this is this gives that sleek look, but it's serving function because we get so much more display here. It just feels right. It feels like the perfect size between 9.7 and 12.9. Now, of course, we have to start with the actual display because Apple has delivered some major industry-leading innovation here. This display is one of the big parts of that ties everything together. This is absolutely this is the best display I've ever tested. And as you guys know, if you've been with me for a while, display technology is something I have to know the nuances of for what I do as a graphic shop owner and a print operator, along with, of course, being a graphic artist and designer. Displays are important to my job, and this display is phenomenal. We got to break this display down in a couple different ways because it's housing various innovation that we have to talk about. So the first area I want to talk about is just aesthetically how it looks, and then we're going to talk about some of the deeper technologies of this display. So the first thing is ultra high resolution retina display, P3 color gamut. So you get in the wide color gamut here, so that means you're going to get the rich oranges and reds. You're going to get the punchier contrast, except it's going to retain that natural color. It's not going to be overblown, not going to be oversaturated here. Okay, now one of the main things you'll notice with this display when you look at it, and I mean just from a visual point of view, things look three-dimensional. When I compare it directly to the 9.7, the 9.7 has a flatter look to it. When I look at this, it looks like you can actually go in and grab that icon out. It looks like the icons are pushing forward in a different way, pushing forward in a three-dimensional way where the 9.7 things actually kind of look like they're flat on the screen. I don't know what Apple has done here, but with this display, it's like it's on a new plane and it's pushing things forward. Now, I purposely showed other people this display. I just made them look at it, and then I made them look at the 9.7. They all said the same thing. They thought that this display looked like it had 3D qualities. So I think one of the things that's attributing to this is the new coating. The new coating is very good, and this new anti-reflective coating, it makes it seem like there's actually no glass there. Now, this kind of thought of no glass being there is going to play a role later as well. because all around, when you combine all the technologies that are within this display, it feels like layers have been removed here. That's what it feels like. Now, of course, we know there's glass there, but when you're visually looking at it, with this new coating, it feels like you're looking at something that is new to the eye, something that is an experience that is just different than any display I've ever seen. And it feels like layers have been removed. It feels like there's no glass there. Now, of course, this is a True Tone display. Okay, so if you don't know what the True Tone technology is, the True Tone technology is taking in the lighting from the environment that you're in, and it's adjusting the display based on the lighting of your environment. And this is what any object would do in real life, like a piece of paper, like a canvas. If you were going to be painting on a canvas, if you're going to be drawing, you could think of these scenarios in terms of creation. That's what happens in the environment. That's what this display does. So that leads to an ultra natural experience, viewing experience and working experience, because you're getting super natural representation here. So when you start using the True Tone display, it's hard to use other displays, because what happens is you'll see a blue hue over these other displays. And the True Tone technology allows you to work on this display long periods of time without getting eye fatigue. So, it's a combination of the Retina and the True Tone technology here. It's just a very, very enjoyable screen to work on and also view the content on. And this allows you to create art with very natural color, going straight to print. So True Tone, everything is punched up here as well. So we're getting a little bit more punchy contrast. The display all around is brighter than the 9.7, I believe by 100 nits. That makes a pretty big impact here. But it's those 3D qualities that really stand out to me with this display. The way that these icons are popping off the screen, it's incredible. So Apple has not gone backwards here in terms of the look of the display, in terms of your viewing experience, what your eyes are going to see. They've gone forward here. Now, that's only one part. The second part, which is hugely impactful, this is major, is ProMotion. And ProMotion technology fundamentally changes the iPad in general. It fundamentally changes displays all around, because it's so impactful. ProMotion technology, once you try a ProMotion display, you just can't go back, because it changes things, and you can't unsee it. Once you try the ProMotion display, your brain, it's branded into your brain, branded into your eyes, and you can't unsee it. What is ProMotion? Well, ProMotion, in the technical terms, when it's broken down, it's a refresh rate, and basically the screen is refreshing at 120 hertz, whereas past displays and most displays in the industry are refreshing at 60 hertz. But believe me when I tell you, ProMotion goes much further than just being a display refresh rate. With the way Apple has built ProMotion, with this deep hardware and software integration, it's a major part of the system. When it works in combination with these new internals, with the new CPU, the new GPU, it delivers an experience that you've never experienced before. This is something unique to the iPad Pro, something you can only experience with the iPad Pro. It's really blow-away technology. And it's going much further than just a refresh rate. And I'm going to show some demos of this. Now, this isn't going to really show through video. You have to see this in person. And here's what I suggest, and this is important. If you don't have the money to upgrade to the 10.5 yet, don't try this out, because you won't be able to unsee it. Because what ProMotion does is, here's the best way I can describe it. Picture having an original Galaxy or a Droid X in 2017. Picture those phones being used all those years, and then you trying to use them now in 2017. Picture what that would feel like. That's what ProMotion did to the 9.7. Now, that's not going to show up in the video, but in person, that's what ProMotion, that's how much impact ProMotion had to the 9.7. And I used the 9.7 for an entire day after experiencing ProMotion to see if it would feel like it went back to normal. And it didn't. So my suggestion is, and I know this is a hard thing to do, or, you know, to not test the product that you're thinking about buying, but believe me, I believe that when you're going to upgrade, just upgrade. If you don't have the money right now, don't test this out, because it could potentially ruin your current device's experience for you. It's that impactful. It's that much of a leap forward. It's a leapfrog in display technology. So I suggest when you're ready to upgrade, or when you're close to ready to upgrade, that's when you go and test the ProMotion display. It's incredible stuff. So when I scroll around here, it's so fast that you can read actually, you know, the text here as it moves. It feels like, you know, like it's sticking to the pencil here as I move things around. It feels like it's sticking like a magnet. And this moves, it's so smooth. And this goes for opening, closing. And this, of course, for scrolling, like when you're reading and researching. It looks insane when you do this. So fast, so smooth. And then when you couple and combine the CPU and the speed of the internals here, which we're going to talk about next, it just makes for an experience that I've never experienced before. Huge impact, incredible to when you're, you know, researching and studying or reading and browsing the web. When you have this thing in your hand, because you have to also keep in mind that these thin bezels and that coating, it feels like a new experience with ProMotion. When you combine all these things, True Tone, ProMotion, the Retina display, the wide color gamut. So when we move this around in person, this looks like we're actually moving around a fine printed page, okay? No matter the speed, it looks like we're moving around a fine printed page. And because of those attributes that are bringing the content forward with that 3D look, with ProMotion, it just looks crazy. Now, when I showed people ProMotion, and I showed multiple people ProMotion, I saw a little bit of a jaw drop. That's the kind of technology this is that this is, okay? It's one of those leapfrogs. Huge impact ProMotion makes, gigantic. Now you can imagine this also for art, how awesome this is. This allows you to just get a streamlined process and flow down that's so fast, it's unlike any computing experience that I've tested. And then also you can think about this when you're actually in the act of illustrating or painting or designing. When you move things around, you are seeing things in a new detail, and it's also moving around in such a fast, fluid way, it feels like you're moving around, you know, printed content under that screen. And that's what I mean by the feeling like the glass is removed. It feels like a layer has been removed here when we add ProMotion in. It's a completely new experience. Hard to really, you know, put into words. Something you have to experience in person, but believe me, when you do, you will see it and notice it right away, and you won't be able to go back to any other display technology because it just makes things look crazy. So now this, again, this is not going to really show up here, but me in person, while I do this and look at it, what I am seeing is I'm seeing something that looks like it's chugging and lagging. Okay, when I open stuff up, it feels like I'm looking at a laggy experience. And in reality, the 9.7 is super fast. The 9.7 is a super fast piece of technology. So that's why I say I don't think you should test ProMotion unless you are definitely pulling the trigger and upgrading. So as we go in and start getting into software demos and talk about the internals and what's going on here internally, you're going to see other things come into play when it comes to ProMotion. You'll see how everything kind of works together here in a unified way, and you'll see how ProMotion also comes into play in other areas of working. So let's get into that stuff next. So what's going on internally here? Let's break this down. So inside of this new iPad Pro is extremely powerful hardware. We have Apple's A10X Fusion chip. This chip is super powerful. Now, I'm not going to run benchmarks for you, but if you've been researching about the new iPad Pros, you know that they benchmark off the charts. And one of the things is it's benchmarking higher than quad-core i7s out there. So the combination of this CPU and the new GPU architecture, it's very powerful stuff. As I said, it's benchmarking beyond quad-core i7s. So what you have here is probably the most powerful portable computing device I think that there is out there. Because when we combine what's going on with these powerful internals, when we start to think about iOS 11, when we start to go into the full-blown professional softwares, I mean, I really can't think of anything that's this portable with this much power, where the battery life doesn't get impacted when you work. It just makes for an experience, again, unlike any portable tool I have tested. And I'm talking about any device with a battery in it, any device that is meant to be taken with you, any device that's meant to be kind of close by you, something you pick up, grab, and go, something that you keep by you. So the new internals are another leapfrog, because what we have now is, and this is the reality. And again, as you guys know, I like to use everything because it's fun, and you know, my viewpoint is whatever you like is what you have to use, and whatever works for you, that's awesome. So whatever it is that you use, whatever works for you, and if it works out for you, that's what you want. That's a great thing. It doesn't matter what brand of product it is. It doesn't matter, you know, what style it is. If it works for you, that's all that matters. But we have to come at this from the logical standpoint, and the logical standpoint is the truth and reality is the new iPad Pros are as powerful as quad-core tower desktops. I'm going to demonstrate that when we get into the software stuff. But that is the reality, and that is what puts this into a whole different class of product for me, because it has the power to do things other portable systems cannot achieve. And we're going to go into exactly what those things are now. So the first thing, though, I want to go over and show you this, because this is one of the key factors of why I upgraded. On the 9.7, we're dealing with the low memory. We're dealing with the 2 gigs of RAM. And because of that, and because of how the older chip architecture worked, I wasn't able to take advantage of PaintStorm in its full way, with the full freedom to work the common professional sizes that I would need to work for customers and clients, and for my personal work. So as you can see there, the memory meter is in the red. And if I try to do something like a 14 by 14 at 300 DPI, what's going to happen is it's not going to let me do that. So I was limited in the sizes that I can work. Okay, so that was one of the main reasons I did the update. I did the upgrade. It was, you know, it was necessary for me to get the full experience. So I wanted to show you that first, and now we're going to segue into what we can do with the 10.5 and just how much further it goes. Alright guys, so we're at my tower, and I think this is the best way to put into perspective just how powerful the new iPad Pro hardware is, because it's very impressive, it's very powerful. Now, what I'm going to show you is not unique to PaintStorm Studio. If we open up Photoshop, the same thing will happen. If we open up Krita, if we open up Clip Studio Paint, higher resolution painting, this is what happens. And I just want to show you this because I think this is the best way to put this into perspective. And this applies across the board, so we can apply this to every software. Even though we are doing this example in an illustrating and painting software, raster painting at high resolution is something that takes a lot of system resources. Okay, so we can apply this across the board. Okay, this is a 15 by 15 300 DPI complex paintbrush. And what you see, it lags so badly you can't work through it. Okay, now we've seen this before too. So we've seen this on the Mobile Studio Pro, we've seen this on the Surface, we've seen this on the Z Canvas, we've seen this on various different devices, and we see it here on the tower. And this is a pretty powerful tower, Xeon processor, 28 gigs of RAM, dedicated GeForce graphics, and so when we're thinking about this and we think about high resolution painting at large scale, really to do that without lag, it takes gaming internals. Okay, now I want to float over to the 10.5. Okay, here we are. So one image I have open is this is a 15 by 13 300 DPI. We're going to go back to that. And then this canvas here is a 15 by 15 300 DPI, same as what I just showed you. As you can see, we have no memory meter here coming up because we don't have a memory problem. Same brush as well, same size. Check this out. Okay, and PaintStorm is still not even set up for Metal 2 yet. It's not set up for the new hardware, the new graphics. It's not set up for iOS 11. So when that comes with Metal 2, we will see even more acceleration and speed. And even as it is right now, we are already able to see the benefits. When I do this render, it looks crazy because the screen has those 3D qualities to it, and also the PaintStorm engine does. The fluidity with ProMotion is impactful here. You could feel it. But most importantly, we are seeing right now the 10.5-inch iPad Pro outperform a tower with two large-scale, high-resolution images open right now. We're seeing it outperform a powerful tower. So, and this is, this is outperforming a tower. So if we think about a portable system, an Ultrabook or some type of portable system, we are actually seeing the 10.5-inch iPad Pro outperform a tower. So you can imagine the outperformance if you compare this to another portable system, because this tower is not a tower with like laptop internals. This is a true desktop tower that I demoed that with. And when we consider that when we work and do a long work session, this will not impact our battery life. When we think about how thin and light this is, when we think about just everything that's going on here with the software and hardware, this has to be one of the most powerful systems I've ever tested. Okay? And we'll do a separate video on other softwares. I wish I can get into all the other stuff. I wish I could get into video editing and recording music with GarageBand. I'm also a musician, so I wish I could get into that and Affinity Photo and other softwares that you guys like. We'll do that in a separate video. But I think this really, this puts it into perspective, the power here. Now if we float back over to the other piece that's open, I want to just quickly show you pressure dispersion and inking. I'm going to go down to one of my custom inkers. These will be available soon on my website along with the user interfaces. With ProMotion, when we move the canvas around, it's so fast. It feels like we're moving that piece of paper around. When we ink, we get awesome pressure dispersion from thick to thin. Feels super awesome with PaintStorm's engine in combination with ProMotion. Sorry, this is a little bit hard to do while I hold the camera here. So from super thin to thick, we're getting that awesome pressure dispersion. Of course, the awesome pro workflows of iOS 11, the dock, the file system, multitasking, drag and drop, okay, all that great stuff. The ability to easily switch in and out of what we need to get into. You know, so we're getting the multitasking experience. We get the file system here now with iOS 11, which we can use in a multitasking way. Split screen, the way that this sizes, and the fact that you can hold this with one hand in portrait or landscape, and it feels awesome for creating with. ProMotion, when this all comes together, it's just very, very powerful stuff in combination with the pencil. So this opens up new doors and new possibilities for various creators, for graphic artists, illustrators, designers, painters, digital painters, concept artists, video content creators, musicians. This opens up a door of new possibilities. And when we see what we can do here, when we think about this power, when we go back to looking at how this can come anywhere with us, and how this battery life is, when we think about the power we are seeing here, I believe this is a game changer. I can work on any size that I want without any limitation and get a amazing working experience. Big, large canvases, 18 by 24 at 300 DPI, 15 by 15, 18 by 18. You know, these large sizes at very high resolution. Okay, and you know what we're seeing here goes across the board, and for me, this is really game-changing stuff. So let's talk about the battery life. Battery life is incredible here on the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. It's actually gone forward, okay? So it didn't retain its battery life, it didn't go backwards, it actually went forward. And that's that breaks down into two key reasons. One, because the battery is a bit bigger, because we have a little bit bigger of a footprint here. And then two, because of the way the Fusion chip power manages. And I've tested this in depth back and forth with the 9.7. The 10.5 has substantially longer battery life than the 9.7 in multiple ways. Where this really counts is when you're in the act of working heavily on big stuff like high resolution, large canvases, design, video editing, photo editing, manipulation, music recording, okay? You can have the display on extended periods of time. You can work heavily on large scale, hefty stuff, and the battery does not get impacted. This battery reminds me of the first generation iPad battery. It just keeps going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. This one keeps going. It's one of Apple's best batteries, and it really impressed me. You do not have to think about battery life here. If you have to meet with a client, you have to go. If you're traveling, you can pick this up, and you do not have to worry about battery life at all. There is zero impending doom here when it comes to the battery. And it's better in terms of the way it power manages, because you can be in the act of work heavily, and your battery doesn't get impacted. Where on the 9.7, if I started doing that stuff, I started to see the battery life get impacted. Not majorly, not like other systems, but it did get impacted. Whereas with the Fusion chip, it doesn't get impacted in the same way. And if you own the 9.7, you will notice that right away. This is one of Apple's best batteries, and this is one of those other key parts that really make this such a powerful portable tool. Incredible battery life. All right, guys, so that is going to wrap up our review of the 10.5-inch iPad Pro. So in conclusion, what can we draw here? What have we learned? And for me, I think the 10.5-inch iPad Pro and the new iPad Pros all around, the 12 and the 10, I think the sum of their parts equals ascendancy. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we look far past the horizon, if we look into the future, when we see how powerful this hardware and software is working together, when we see how the hardware and software is now caught up to each other, for me, when I think about the future, I really see the iPad Pro playing a big part in the future of personal portable computing. We have such versatile hardware here. We have a battery that can last multiple days. We have versatility in the way that we use this. We have something so light and so thin that we can take this anywhere. And we have power unlike any other system. We have multiple leapfrogs within this tool, and this delivers an experience in as someone who's been in the field a very long time, this delivers an experience unlike anything I've tested before. It has power unlike anything I've tested, as you saw in today's demos. So I would have to say that the 10.5-inch iPad Pro and the 12, I would have to say these are the most powerful portable tools I've ever tested. And to arrive, kind of at this conclusion that I draw about it playing a big part of the future, we have to go back to its origins of 2010. And when we go back to these origins of 2010, we have the original iPad. And this is truly what defines the tablet, and this is what defined the tablet and defines it. And I think when we look back and look at this guy, of course we can see the evolution, that's obvious. But when we go back to this time, I remember before I got it, when I placed the order, the first post I made was, I can't wait to create art with this thing, because I knew developers were going to start making software for this platform that would allow us to create, and that's exactly what they did right away. And when I got this in 2010, this fundamentally changed the way I worked digitally, and just changed the way I worked all around. It totally changed my workflow. And when I first held this in my hand, I said to myself, one day this tool will be the Macintosh of the future. And I think when we fast forward to 2017 today, and we look at how everything comes together, I think it all makes sense. And when I think about the whole spectrum, when I go back to the origin, I realize why Apple waited to put this stuff in. And that was because if they put this stuff in sooner, they would have compromised somewhere. They would have went backwards on battery life. They would have went backwards on the thinness. They would have went backwards on the power. And because Apple stuck to their guns here and didn't want to deliver a compromised experience, they took the heat and they waited for everything to align. And by Apple waiting for everything to align, they have delivered one of their best experiences. I believe this is some of Apple's best work. And I believe this is probably one of the best art tools you can invest in for such a good price in comparison to what you would pay to a lot of this other stuff out there. You can get into the iPad Pro, the 10.5, for I think $649. And and what we know now is just how truly powerful this is, because inside of this thing we have such amazing power. It has fully impressed me, and you know, I haven't been impressed in a while. I have to say, I haven't been impressed in a while, and Apple really came through here. They delivered on the iPad Pro. We have multiple leapfrogs. We have the leapfrog with ProMotion. We have the leapfrog in terms of the power, the form factor. It all lines up. Apple has done great work here. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's review, I would love if you gave it a like, if you comment, subscribe. You can follow me on my social media. I'll have the links in the description. We have, of course, more videos coming, more content coming for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day.